I was just sharing, I got back from Colorado last night, so I'm still in state of shock over all this heat. But anyway, so if I still seem in vacation mode, you'll know why. But I am thrilled to be here. I am a registered dietitian and have had a private practice for 16 years. Among other things I've done as a dietitian, and I retired 2 years ago. So that has been such a pleasure. And this is my husband in the back, Bruce. And he retired a year ago, so now he just is my great assistant and helper. Aww. Very thankful for that. I know. I told him this morning, I said, most husbands would say, good luck. I'm on the golf course. I'll see you after a while. But he's such a helper. So we're going to do a couple of cooking demos today, but before we get started, I thought we would just go over how to fight cancer one bite at a time. How many of you are patients and how many of you are caregivers? Patients? Okay, most everybody. Caregivers?
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right, good. Well, I think the information... Hi, how are you? I remember you from last time. I think this information will be great for both. Because, when you're not feeling great, it's great for the caregivers to know what to do. And then I'm going to try to give you some ways that are easy. Things that you can throw together at the last minute. I mean, fatigue is one of the biggest challenges, right? And so some food that you can do, either have on hand or that you can throw together in a heartbeat. So we are going to talk about how the self-care decisions that you make today really do make a difference. I think sometimes you get to thinking, why am I even doing all this? Why am I trying? And so we're going to look at some good ways that nutrition, exercise, and stress management can help you feel your best. Common side effects, you know these better than I do, but it can be anything from losing a lot of weight to gaining weight to extreme fatigue, the whole nausea, vomiting thing, the dry mouth, the mouth sores, trouble swallowing, sore throat. I mean, all these things can be a part of treatment and are horrible to tolerate. They're just so difficult to tolerate. But there are some techniques that you can use to fight that. So to me, this is like the crux of the presentation today. These are things that you can do. I want you to memorize these as you're looking at them or write them down. But eating more often throughout the day. One of the things that we notice is if you're not eating often enough, when your body starts to run out of fuel, you just feel lousy. That's when the nausea can come, or that's when you just start feeling extreme fatigue. So eating 5 or 6 small meals a day. I think it's best to never get super full, and we'll talk about that later, but just kind of staying nourished, but not too hungry or too full. Eating your high-protein foods first. So protein does what for our bodies?
Energy.
It gives you long-lasting energy, and that's what you're really looking for. And then sipping small amounts of liquids throughout your meal. So don't gulp down a big old glass of water while you're eating, because you don't want to do anything to fill yourself up until you've had your food. And then there are going to be times you're going to drink milkshakes, smoothies, anything that goes down really easily, especially if you have mouth sores or dry mouth. You may not feel like eating solid food. So that's going to be important too. In fact, a lot of you, I saw you carrying your book in on page 45. So this is called a Mega Nutrient Smoothie. And it was so funny when I was studying about anti-inflammatory diets and everything that you need to do to be as prepared as you can to fight inflammation. I found 27 nutrients that you need to be taking, supplements. And I was like, that's not happening. I'm not a big supplement person, but my team put together this smoothie, this mega nutrient smoothie that's going to give you the same thing as those 27 nutrients or 27 supplements. So it's, I want you to make it your own. I'll go back over here and look at it. Like, it calls for like almond milk, but you can use Fairlife milk that has additional protein in it. Calls for kale. If you hate kale, use spinach. You know, so there's some things that you can do in there to make it your own. Calls for almond butter. You can use peanut butter. Just kind of fit it to your taste, but use the same type of food. So that's a really fun one. Encourage you to do that. And then, of course, eating foods that are bland. I brought a Mexican chicken recipe that we're going to do. So bland is maybe not what that is, but I'll tell you how you can maybe adapt that. Dry foods. I think that's such an important piece. Have crackers handy, have dry white toast ready. Anything that's, saltines, give you that little bit of salt. I always think back to like when I was pregnant, and you'd kind of wake up in the morning and you're like, and you'd eat a couple of crackers and you could kind of keep going. So that's a good thing to remember. Things that are easy on your stomach. We always think of high fiber, brown bread, brown rice, all of those things. But when you're having issues, white toast, white rice, really bland, plain yogurt. So thinking about, I think one of the biggest teaching things I've done with cancer patients is it's okay not to eat what we normally think of as healthy. It's okay to say, I don't feel good. I want something easy to digest, or I'm dropping weight like crazy. What do I do? Well, at that point, you kind of knock everything off the table and say, I'm going to have milkshakes. I'm going to have peanut butter. I'm going to have things that I know can help keep some weight on. And then sitting or lying with your head raised after a meal, it helps everything digest. And some things, taste change, right? And so it's like everything tastes metallic or bad. So any of these things, you may see some that you go, oh, that doesn't taste good to me at all. But taking red meat kind of off the table for a little while, I want you to know I have nothing against red meat. I think it's wonderful. There's so many lean cuts of red meat, but it doesn't always taste good during cancer treatment. So poultry, fish, eggs, cheese, all good ways to get protein without having so much of the metallic taste. And then tart foods and drinks. So have any of you guys tried tart cherry juice?
Oh, yeah. It's wonderful.
It's such a wonderful thing. And there's research that says that 10 tart cherries have the same effect as one ibuprofen. So, they're very, very powerful. Lemon drops, gum, anything to kind of change the taste in your mouth. Use sugar-free gum, use sugar-free mints. You don't want to cause any problems in your mouth. And then metal things, like metal forks and Coke out of a can and those kinds of things may enhance that metallic taste. So eat with plastic utensils. Put your drink in a cup, plastic cup, and that may help as well. So there are certain foods that can be effective in improving cancer outcomes. And if you've had a chance to read through the book, how many of you have looked at the book? A few of you. Oh, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people don't have one yet, but these are Eat Well to Be Well. So it's all about anti-inflammatory diet, and Thrive Well graciously gives you one. So if you don't have a book, see Josie. Eat Well to Be Well. So in that book, I did a lot of research on anti-inflammatory diets and how they're so important. And when you talk about anti-inflammatory diet, I think it's good to just think Mediterranean diet. More fish, more fruits and vegetables, more nuts. Those kinds of things will keep you on track with it. There are key foods that have been found helpful. I'm not going to go deep into this, but in the book, talk a lot about polyphenols, and They are an anti-inflammatory substance that helps prevent cancer formation. So foods that are high in polyphenols include green tea. I mean, you've probably heard that a lot, that if you're fighting cancer, green tea it's also a great way to kind of calm your stomach. So green tea, very effective. Grapes, berries, citrus fruits, apples, whole grains, cherries, as we talked about, citrus fruit peel, and cherry tomatoes. So I want to speak to that for a minute because those are weird things. Anything that is small, that has a small surface that would catch the sun. So, for example, if you look at a large tomato, the side that's been catching the sun is much higher in polyphenols than the side that has been next to the plant. So you're thinking, okay, cherry tomato's small, it catches more. Citrus fruit peel, also same thing, much higher in polyphenols than what's on the inside. So citrus fruit peel, you're probably not going to munch down on, but you could stick it in some tea or something to get the benefit. Cruciferous vegetables, anybody know what those are?
Broccoli,
Brussels sprouts.
All of those things, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. They tell me, and I found it to be true, that if you cut the stem, you'll see a cross in the bottom, and that's where they get the name cruciferous. Little tidbit. Herbs and spices are a great way to get polyphenols in, and there's a whole list of spices in the book that are very helpful. And then nuts and nut butters, so peanut butter, almond butter. If you're allergic, do sun butter. There's all kinds of great anti-inflammatory foods. So again, it's in the book. Take a look. It gives you shopping lists. It gives you, again, herbs and spices to look at. But I want to talk to you about eating for energy, because we can get very sciencey and all that, but at the end of the day, you just want to be eating for energy. And it's all about balancing, right? You got to balance your nutrients and you want to balance your calories. So let me tell you what I mean by that. Balancing your nutrients, protein, carbohydrate, healthy fat. You want to include all of those. Don't give up a food group. So many people say, should I not have carbohydrates? Should I avoid fat? And the answer is you balance those nutrients because they all play such a key role in keeping you healthy and energized. Balancing your calories, what I mean by that is don't have one big meal a day. Balance your calories throughout the day. I can't tell you the number of people that say, I'm just not hungry in the mornings, so I don't eat. And then by lunch, I'm kind of busy and I just don't eat. But, by dinner, I'm super duper hungry and I eat a giant meal and then I don't feel good. Not how you do it. So example would be breakfast. Greek yogurt with maybe some nuts or a drizzle of honey or something like that in it. And then maybe 6 or 8 almonds mid-morning. Lunch, have a giant salad. Again, you're going to know from the book, and you just know intuitively that all these fruits and vegetables are important. So, big salad with tomatoes and carrots and spinach and fruit and definitely some protein. So, some turkey, some cheese. Again, the nuts will help. And so that gives you lunch. Afternoon, maybe you have one of these peanut butter bites that we're going to make this morning. So that could satisfy you for the afternoon. A nice dinner with maybe chicken breast and rice and some kind of green vegetable, maybe another salad, and then a little nibble before you go to bed at night, because you want to keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day and throughout the night as best you can. So portion control, quarter your plate, make sure a quarter's carbs, a quarter is protein, and half your plate is full of fruits and vegetables. And that'll give you a really good balance. So how do you fuel up to feel your best? Well, what we were talking about is you're going to eat about every 3 hours. And every time you have a carbohydrate, you want to make sure there's a protein or a healthy fat with that. What do carbs do to your blood sugar? Spike it. And it comes back down just as quick. So you probably haven't done this since you were a teenager, but what happens when you have a Coke and a candy bar? I mean, it feels pretty good for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and your body digests and you feel horrible. So your blood sugar spike and drop. Your goal is to keep that steady, stable throughout the day. Don't let your hunger get ahead of you, which is what we talked about with the whole I skip breakfast, I skip lunch, I eat huge at night, because your hunger is going to get ahead of you and your body's going to want to catch up. And then focus on one meal at a time. You know, when you're not feeling good and your energy's low, you may be thinking, oh, I don't even want to think about food. I don't want to think about staying nourished. So find some ways that are quick and easy that you can kind of have in your pantry and use those to help you get through that. But one meal at a time. What am I gonna have for lunch? You know, one thing that just popped into my head though, you can't just say, well, what am I gonna have for lunch? Because what happens? You don't have the stuff. So again, keep some things handy that you go, okay, I've got all the ingredients to make the smoothie. I've got all the ingredients I'm gonna need to put something on the table at night. And you can, convenience foods are the best, right? You can find some that are really healthy. And even if you are going to use frozen salmon or frozen chicken breast, anything to throw some protein and add some things to it in the evening. We're going to do a Mexican chicken breast here in a minute. And again, you can see there's very few ingredients in it. So we'll get to that. Identifying your true hunger can sometimes be challenging because, again, you don't feel good, so you don't feel hungry. You have waited too long to eat. So on this scale, think about 1 on your hunger scale as being empty. I mean, I'm just drained. I have no energy. I'm empty. And 5 to 6 is satisfied. 10 is like super duper stuffed. So what you want to do is live in this 5 to 6 range. So when you're at a 4, when you're starting to think, I could be hungry, then it's time to eat something. But when you're at a 6, it's time to stop. And just remember that it takes your brain and your stomach a minute to catch up with each other. Actually, about 20 to 45 minutes to catch up. So you may leave the table thinking, I could probably still eat something else. But if you give it a minute, you'll know that, hey, I'm satisfied. So it's more like grazing throughout the day than it is big meals. Exercise. Y'all are going to not like me to say this, but exercising is such an important key to feeling better. And it doesn't have to be run a marathon, right? It can be sit and be fit. It can be walking around the block. Just getting out and moving is going to help you feel a little more energetic than you would if you were just sitting. So you got to think about, what am I willing to do to fit in some fitness? Okay, I have 8 reasons that you need to be active. All right. Exercise builds lean muscle. Well, to me, when you're at a place in your life where you can't be extremely active, it maintains lean muscle mass. And I think that's what you want to think of, is you don't want to allow your muscle to wither away. You want to continue to at least maintain it. And it helps manage stress. Think about how much better you feel after you walk around the block, right? You're just like, okay, I have fresh air. I heard the birds sing. I'm better. It increases your metabolism. So you just use your food more effectively. And that's very important. It improves your stamina. So if you're feeling, go for a walk. You've got more stamina to maybe then make dinner or have a snack. And maybe even like do some laundry or, something that we all still have to do. It acts as an oh, yes.
Oh, would you say that also boosts immunity?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely. The more you can move around, there's so many great studies about that. reduces inflammation. It is very important with that. Acts as an antidepressant, increases your stability. And that's such a big one because, as we age and as we don't feel very good, we can just our balance gets off. So exercise can increase your stability. Motion is the lotion for your joints. And it seems counterintuitive to jump out there and do something when your joints hurt, but it really does help lubricate those joints and get you going. And then it increases your good cholesterol, decreases your bad cholesterol, and helps manage your blood sugar. So those things are all 8 reasons. I'm giving you a lot of good reasons to get up and get active. To maximize your energy, be still. Take time to organize your day. My husband always teases me because I get up early so that I can have a quiet time and then organize my day. I'm a list maker. So if I don't make a list, I'm going to forget what it was I was going to do for that day. But you just take time to get organized, but be still. And then prioritize. What are you going to do first? What's the most important thing in your day? We run low on energy at the end of the day, don't we? So getting up and getting the most important things done first. And then make your fitness and eating for energy a top priority. Just want to touch on stress for a minute because stress can undermine everything else you're trying to do to get healthy. So I really want to find some ways that work for you to help manage your stress. And so these are just some things that have been found to help manage stress. First of all, build a routine. Have a routine that you fall into for your day. There's a great TED Talk by Colin Powell, and he talks about bringing kids in. So they come in, they're 18 years old into the Army. They come in, they're 18 years old. They have saggy pants and long hair and, look like 18-year-olds do. And he said, we put them in, we make them all wear the same clothes, we buzz their head, we tell them there's 3 things that you can say, yes, sir, no, sir, and no excuses, sir. And, they just teach them routine and discipline. But by the time those 18 weeks are over, they're like structured, disciplined, very polite. And so it's just really cool how it happens. But he talks about the fact that it's the routine that makes them, that I guess is life-changing for them. So routine makes us feel secure. So maybe you get up and you fall into your tennis shoes every morning and you go for a walk and then you eat breakfast. Have it kind of mapped out so that you know every day what you're going to do. Learn to say no. So many of us are like, sure, I'll do that. And then you're like, that was really not a good idea. You teach Sunday school or a Bible study, or you have a group to play mahjong at your house, something. But you may need to learn to say, can we have it at your house this time? Or I need to take a break. So learning to say no, it's super hard for a lot of people. Decluttering, you know how much better you feel when your closet's clean or your pantry's clean. Pick a spot, and maybe your bedroom is your place of refuge, but pick a spot that's clean, that's organized. I mean, how many times, at least I do this, I just cleaned out my pantry, and I just go in there and stand, and I'm like, I'm amazing. So taking time to do that. And then downtime. We all need downtime. Some people need activity to stay energized, and some people just need to sit and stare. And so they're both important, but give yourself a chance to just kind of take some me time. So, fighting cancer one bite at a time. We're going to make a couple of things. All right? So, I'm going to start with the foil-wrapped Mexican chicken. Now, what I was going to say to you about that is you can make this your own. So, is anyone in here like really not into spicy? Okay. So you don't have to be spicy, okay? And in the cookbook, it is foil-wrapped Mexican pork chops. but we thought chicken might be a little better for this demo. So you can see I've already changed it up a little bit. So we're doing chicken instead of pork. This in your book is on page 106 if you want to follow along. So I've made one for you here. And actually I've got Bruce is in the back and he's going to give you samples so you get to taste. And he's going to pass them out so you don't have to get up, which I hate buffets because I have to get up and get my own food. If you can see this. Can y'all see that?
No.
Okay, well I can't dump it anymore, or maybe if I do that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's better.
Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when you take it out of your pouch. But I wanted to go ahead and have them ready so you could all have a taste. So what I'm going to tell you is, this is so easy. Take your can of black beans, rinse it, put it in a strainer and rinse it. Corn, same thing. Put it in a strainer, drain the water off. You can use frozen corn. You can use, I love these little crisp corns. I just think they're the best. And a whole thing of salsa. You can use any brand. Yeah. And well, it makes 6 chicken breasts, so it goes a long ways. So what you're going to do is I buy the thin sliced chicken breast at the store. You've probably seen them, and they just cook so much faster. So sprinkle your chicken, put your piece of foil down, put your chicken on top, and then sprinkle it with some salt, pepper, and chili powder. You don't have to use chili powder if you're not into spice. And it just takes a little bit. Then you're going to mix all of this together. Salsa, beans, corn, and brown rice. And have y'all tried this product?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to cook it, which is great. So you just open it up, and there's 2 1-cup servings in here. Well, that's how much cooked rice you need. So pull the film off, microwave it for a minute, dump it in with that. Spoon that over your chicken breast. Roll it up, and you've got your Mexican chicken. Now, if you don't want spice, you can use canned tomatoes. Just use that instead, just drain them. So that's an option. And then when you pull it out of the oven, you're just going to unwrap it and sprinkle it with some cheese. Just a little bit, just to give it some way to hold together. This has jalapeno peppers in it, but you can use regular cheddar. You can use whatever kind of cheese you like. Monterey Jack. So, how easy is that? Super simple. Things you don't have to. I'm going to say that probably took me 5 minutes to put together last night. Just super fast.
How long do you cook it?
30 minutes at 350. Yeah. So really fast, and something your family will like. And if everybody wants to make theirs different, my mom used to make stuff called hobo dinners. Y'all ever had hobo dinners? And they're in little foil packets. And so she would take a marker and write our initials on it. Because, I want more carrots. No, I want more potatoes. No, I want, salsa in mine or whatever. And so you can do that. Make one that everybody in your family is going to want. Do you have any people that might want to be a volunteer? Because we're going to make another recipe. You will? Okay.
Yeah, would you prefer to have a diva?
No, it's fine. I'll take you as well. We're going to have a lot. Yes. We're going to have a lot of stuff to do over here, so that's good. Bruce, are you going to pass out chicken first, or you want to wait and do it all at the same time?
It's totally up to you.
I didn't know if you had it ready.
Just about.
Okay, so you can start passing it out as soon as you have it ready. All right. So this that we're going to make now is peanut butter bites. They're protein bites. And I refer to those a lot during the talk because they're quick, they're easy, they have a lot of nutrient in a small amount. So I, this time, did not add protein powder. You can do it either way. Not a giant fan of protein powder, but certainly adds a lot of protein in. So if you're trying to fit in more, you can totally do that. All right.
What kind of protein?
Powder?
What kind of
I-
protein powder would you use?
I like ISO Pure because it just doesn't have a lot of other stuff in it.
Okay.
You can use a pea protein if you want to.
And you called it ISO?
ISO Pure.
Okay.
ISO PURE. Yes. Okay, you guys ready to work?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. The first thing we're going to do, and this is a little tricky, you know how peanut butter and honey do in a measuring cup. But the first thing we're going to do is get some peanut butter into this half cup measure. So if you want to spray it with Pam first so it comes out easier, that will work. And then we'll get it out with you want me to spray? I'll spray it. You can, okay, you want to do it?
I was gonna
And
ask you if you can use anything else, like just like olive oil or.
you can,
Anything
yes,
that's not-
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And then we're gonna put some peanut butter in there, kind of measure it to the top. So she's using a half cup of peanut butter. And again, I'm into the fact that these recipes can be made your own. If you want to use chunky peanut butter, you can. You want to use almond butter, you can. Just make it to where it's something you're going to enjoy. And so we start with that. And then this calls for 1/3 of a cup of honey. So I use a little less. I think it's quite a lot of honey in there. So just use this to get it out and put it in there. And do you want to do a scant 1/3 of a cup of honey and again spray it? Comes out better anyway, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, I never thought about doing that.
Yeah, and she asked it, could you just use olive oil or some kind of canola oil to grease the measuring cup, and you definitely could. Just don't want to leave it in there for the taste. Okay.
So, do you recommend like natural peanut butter?
You know, I like Justin's peanut butter. Justin's, Justin. Yeah, to me that's the best one. You just got to remember that I came in from Colorado last night. So I was like, what's in my pantry? Yeah. But I would use Justin's if I were making this. Okay, you want to
Okay.
put your lid back on?
Sorry.
That's probably perfect. All right, so now we're going to put the honey in. Again, 1/4 cup of honey I think is plenty. Now we're going to do vanilla. So if you'll do a teaspoon of vanilla in here. So we have honey, we have peanut butter. Now we're going to add some vanilla.
Probably shouldn't pour that over there. You know,
Okay.
Sometimes I overdo.
Oh, I know. Me too. Perfect. All right, so now we've got a teaspoon of vanilla in there. And would you like to come stir it? We're just going to stir that all together. Let's get that off first as best we can. Okay, now you can stir it. So stir it all together really well. You're going to add some other ingredients, but you want to get this all kind of the moist type stuff stirred together first. And then we're going to add Rice Krispie cereal, and it's right there in that baggie, if you'd like to add that. So again, Rice Krispie cereal, you can use organic, you can use a natural, however, whatever kind of Rice Krispie you want, but you want that crunchiness in there.
Thank you. How much rice Krispie?
So the Rice Krispies is a cup.
Okay, look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Pour that in.
Yeah. And then coconut. So you can toast your coconut first. I think it gives some additional flavor.
Toast it first. Oh my God.
I know. Well, or not. That's why I'm doing it like this. I'm like, yeah, or maybe not. Because that is kind of a pain.
Is this already measured out?
No, it's not. You're going to need, of the coconut, you need 1/3 of a cup.
So here's your 1/3. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, I think that'll
We're
work.
just gonna- We'll end up here.
Jan,
Yes.
how much of the protein powder would you use?
A half cup. A half cup. Yeah, it's on your it's in your recipe in your book, and I didn't even say this, but it's on page 156 in your book, so you already have the recipe for it. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's.
And if you're gonna, what did you say, roast it?
Toast it.
Toast it.
So I put it on a piece of foil in my toaster oven for, I don't know, it cooks fast, so maybe 30 seconds, a minute. Doesn't take long.
What about under the broiler? Or
Yeah, definitely. If you're doing it under a broiler, pay attention and get it out as soon as you can, because it's going to be fast. All right. Let's see what else we've got. So now you're going to do, you would do the protein powder here if you were using it. We are not. So flaxseed, anybody use flaxseed ever? It's a natural laxative. It's like the best invention ever.
do you still need an assistant?
I do. Would you do it? A tablespoon of that. So you're going to put in a tablespoon of ground flaxseed.
If you, use the protein powder, how much?
Half cup. And again, you might use a quarter cup. I mean, I just want you to me, it tastes a little powdery when I use a half cup. Just, use a quarter cup or leave it out. Or if you're dying for some protein, put that in there. All right, now you're going to add, why don't you add that? You come over and stir. You're the stirrer in the group. And then a little bit of cinnamon.
Just some chocolate.
Oh, or chili powder. Thank you. I heard somebody gasp. That would be awful. They look the same, right? Now we're just going to do a quarter of a teaspoon of this one. Just throw it in there. And again, kind of a scant quarter teaspoon.
I'm gonna let you serve your presentation, but you could recommend that PB2 powder.
Yes.
Because it doesn't taste grainy like that. And it
Right.
would go perfect in here.
You could do the PB2 powder in there. You've seen it. It's like
What is it?
it's PB2. It's usually over by the peanut butter, and it has it just has a less powdery, and it still has protein and healthy fat and stuff in it. All right. So did y'all all get a bite as well?
So what you do,
Oh, a dark chocolate chip. And again, if you don't want to do chocolate, you don't have to. And you can use, the mini ones work better. Half cup.
Can you just run down the ingredients? one more
Sure,
time,
sure,
in
sure,
case
sure.
somebody messed up?
Yes, I got to get Jose to give everybody a book.
Yeah, for those who don't have a book, just let me know.
Okay,
Okay.
but I will go down the I will go down the list. So it's a half cup of peanut butter, a third of a cup of honey,
You're doing a great job.
a teaspoon of vanilla. Am I going too fast? 1 cup of rice cereal, 2/3 of a cup of coconut. I think we only put a cup.
you said 2/3?
2/3 of a cup, yeah. Half cup of protein powder, 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed, a half cup of the mini dark chocolate chips, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then you just roll them in a ball like you've been served today, and you can put them in the refrigerator. They last at least a week in the refrigerator, so that way you could just grab one and you're like, okay, that was my snack. And it tells you in the book like the nutritional value, but it counts as 1 carb, 1 protein, and 1 fat. So if let me just go over a couple of things about the book while I'm thinking about it. It tells you in the front how I've quantified everything, but there are definite guidelines for if something is heart healthy or if it's diabetes friendly, gluten free. So you'll see all of these recipes have icons, and you'll know what each recipe is offering. It also gives you the nutritional, so how many calories, how much fat, and then exchanges. If you've ever worked with exchanges for diabetes or anything like that, it gives you the exchanges, so it's 1 carb, 1 protein, 1 fat, which makes it a very good choice. So when you get through with it, it looks like this. You should put it in the fridge for about 30 minutes before you try to roll it. And then I love using these. Best tool ever, right? So you just do that. And then throw them, again, keep them in the refrigerator. I don't know what happened to my bag, but I just put them on a single layer, separate it apart a little bit in a large baggie, stick them in the fridge, and you just open it up and pull one out as you need. Or if you've got kids, just give everybody one. Here's your snack. Here's your snack and your glass of milk, and you're good. So that's it. Thank you so much for your help. You guys weren't they good? Good helpers. I love it. So what questions do you have? Anybody have any questions? Not just about the recipes, but about anything we've talked about? Wow.
I'm just gonna ask, instead of peanut butter, I could just use with almond butter?
Yes. Yeah. So do almond butter. If you're allergic to nut butter, use sun butter, which is just butter made from sunflower seeds. I know in the schools now you can't take peanut butter, so you have to use a sun butter, which is fine.
What's sun butter?
It's made from sunflower seeds,
Oh,
and
okay.
so it doesn't have the same nut allergies that some people have. Yeah, feel free to make these your own. I always feel like a recipe is just a guide, and then you say, I don't like that, what else could I use? Or I don't like that, I'm leaving it out. Or, they work pretty well, pretty foolproof on what you add. Yes.
I like more plant-based
Uh-huh.
dishes, so I was thinking already about making tofu instead of the chicken.
You could totally do that, because tofu takes on whatever flavor you're putting with it, right? So I think that would work beautifully. Yes.
I find that if I eat snacks in the morning, a snack in the morning, in the afternoon, then I'm not really hungry for lunch or dinner.
Mhm.
I guess I'm eating too many snacks.
No, I think maybe you're eating too much for a snack, because again, I would do 5 or 6 almonds and let that be it, or one of these little balls and let that be it. You certainly don't want to get full. And I always tell people, so if you're going to have a snack of 6 almonds, you're going to think, that jam is crazy. That did not fill me up. But if you give it a minute, you're going to think, I'm a little more satisfied. I'm feeling okay. So small, just enough to keep your blood sugar up and your energy up throughout the day. Yes.
Would you recommend raw almonds or toasted? Toasted almonds?
I like the toasted almonds better.
Oh, okay.
Raw almonds are great, and if you want to do that, if you're that committed, but toasted tastes better to me. So I'm not going to tell you to do something I wouldn't do. Good question, though. Who else?
What could you sub in for the Rice Krispies? Because I don't eat Rice Krispies.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what could you sub in?
Well,
I
there's
know
all
you do
kinds.
oatmeal.
You
The
could do
oatmeal
oatmeal.
give you the
You
crunchy.
could totally do oatmeal. It wouldn't have the crunch, but really by the time this is all absorbed into what we stirred it into, I think your oatmeal would be fine. The other thing you can do is they have smaller boxes of, they're not called Rice Krispies, but a crisp rice cereal that organic, the label's good on. So you could do that, or you could do oatmeal. Yeah. And while you're talking about oatmeal, this popped into my head. All oatmeal has the same nutritional value.
What about
Did you know that?
granola?
All oatmeal has what?
Oh, you could do granola. All oatmeal has the same nutritional value, whether it's steel cut, old fashioned, rolled, whatever. The difference is the fiber. So that's why we always say, do the steel cut, because it has more fiber. It's less broken down than the other ones. So steel cut, if you like it, If you don't like it, then you're still doing good to get oatmeal into your diet.
Would you cook the oatmeal first or?
Before putting it in here? No. No, put it in raw. Yeah. What else? You guys have had some good questions, but you might as well take advantage of me.
I want to go back to the chicken. What type of chicken breast did you use?
I use just that thin sliced from HEB. It's in the same chicken aisle, but it'll say thin sliced versus a thick breast. First of all, that's usually too much chicken. It's 5 or 6 ounces. You probably only need like 3. So the thin slice does that. Plus, I like how it just gets more tender in the oven. And I was also going to say this. If you want to cook that for 45 minutes, you're not going to mess it up. Just depends on how tender you like everything. Usually when I wrap those up, I put them in a cookie sheet just because they're going to might leak a little bit, depending on how good your foil packet holds. Okay. Anybody else? Any challenges that you faced with treatment or anything that you want to talk about? Fatigue? Is that a thing? Okay, a lot of fatigue.
Yeah, still continuing. You too, it still goes on. Ongoing.
Yeah, the fatigue is a tough one. How about mouth sores or anything like that? You have a question.
I was just gonna ask you, does anybody have like a favorite green tea that they just like, that really has a lot of green tea and not just like a little?
A touch. Yeah. I mean, that's
Does
a
anybody
good
have a
good
favorite?
question. You want to answer?
I really like Numi, N-U-M-I, and they have one that's called Gunpowder Green. And it's
N-U-M-I?
N-U-M-I, And I know it sounds like it's super, super strong. Well, I guess maybe it is. But yeah, just like a good pure green
Pure green tea.
I recommend that one, and I feel like I've become a bit of a tea snob, so I think I think I'm giving a good recommendation.
Okay, good.
Where
Thank
would
you.
you find that?
They have it at Whole Foods, but they have it at some HEBs. It just depends on which HEB you're going to.
And
Like
Amazon's the
market.
best way to shop for anything, or
Yeah.
Walmart. I
If
mean,
you-
anything that you do that you can order online,
Yeah,
they likely have it.
Walmart, at least the big super centers, they have a huge variety of like, it's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is impressive.
Good.
You said had a specific type. You said Numi, and then you said something else.
Gunpowder.
That is the name of the tea. So Numi is the brand,
Okay.
and then Gunpowder is what they call that specific one.
Gunpowder.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Gunpowder Green. It's a
Okay.
green tea.
Yes.
What are your thoughts about monk fruit as a sweetener or stevia for allulose?
Monk fruit is a very good one. I think the thing we have to remember is they're all what am I gonna say? They do what?
No
Process. They all have their own positives and negatives. We know that sugar is the biggest inflammatory product we ever put in our mouth, right? So I would even be sparing with your honey just because it's a carbohydrate and it's going to spike your blood sugar. And even though it's a natural sweetener, you just have to remember, I mean, sugar is, honey is, but using something that's not going to spike your blood sugar, such as a stevia or a Truvia or something, if you need just a little bit of sweet, it's not going to hurt you. And monk fruit is a really good choice as well. So
Those peanut butter bites that you served, were those made with a quarter cup of honey? They were still very sweet.
oh, the ones over there. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we did a kind of a scant third of here, but that's what made me remember I don't put that much honey. So you might even want to make that note in your book
I
that
think I leave
quarter.
chocolate chip.
Yeah, you could, and that's, dark chocolate is a great anti-inflammatory. So if you want to use, but you could use half of what's in there, or you could use none. because they're really not providing you any nutrient benefit, except that they're anti-inflammatory. So that's why they're in there. But you can leave them out. Good point. Yes.
What percent of dark do you recommend?
Well, those mini chocolate chips, I mean, they don't come in a variety, but 80% or more is best. And sometimes if you just want a little bit of something as a treat at night, a little square of dark chocolate, I mean, it goes a long ways. It'd be hard to sit down to a bar of 80%. But, you know, a little something, a little treat at night.